In this video, we're going to look at the various ways to recover in Windows 11. Hi, I'm John Grubb from 4kcc.com. We publish computing-related videos all the time. We don't want you to miss any, so please be sure to hit subscribe and the notification bell if you haven't done so already. In this video, we're going to look at the different ways that you can recover when there's a problem in Windows 11. We're going to show you how you can do it and not accidentally delete all your data. We're also going to show you, if you do want to delete your data, how to do that too. So let's get started. The first thing we want to look at is what you should do before you get in trouble with your Windows 11 machine. I'm going to share with you 3 things you should do while your computer is running normally. Number 1, we're going to look at how to configure System Restore. Number 2, we're going to create a restore point. And number 3, we're going to create a recovery drive. Let's start with configuring System Restore. Using the search feature in the Windows 11 menu, we're going to search for recovery. When we type that at the top, you'll see it appear for the best match, Recovery Control Panel, and we click on that. By the way, just an aside, anytime I say click, if you're using touch, I mean tap. Sometimes I'll say tap and maybe you're not using touch. I mean the same thing. When the Advanced Recovery Tools window comes up, we want to tap or click on Configure System Restore. The reason this is important is that System Restore is sometimes off by default. And even if it's on, it may not be reserving enough space to give you multiple system restores. So the drive that we want to deal with is whichever drive has Windows on it. In this case, I only have one drive, the C drive, so that's going to be Windows. I'm going to click on Configure. When the new window appears, I'm going to look at the top and see if System Protection is turned on. If it's turned off, I'm going to click to turn it on. Then I'm going to move to the bottom portion of the window and see how much space is allotted. You can see in my example, only 2% of space was allotted. I don't like only 2%. I like to have around 10%. Here's what that means. The higher percentage allows more system restore points to be stored. That way, if you do get in trouble, you have more than 1 or 2 system restore points to try. Once you change your percentage, click the OK button. Now we're back to the same window, and we're going to click on Create, because we want to create a system restore point right now while we're working. When the Create a Restore Point window comes up, just put in a name, any name you want. The date and time will automatically be added by Windows, so you don't have to put that in. Just pick any name for your restore. In my case, of course, I picked Keystone. Then you click Create, and it will create a restore point. It tells you when it's done. You click Close, click OK. And now we've already taken care of 2 of the 3 things I want you to do when the computer is running well. We're going to go back and search recovery again. This time I'm going to create a recovery drive. Now you'll need a USB drive for this. Once this comes up, you're going to leave the check mark that says Backup System Files, and you're going to click Next. It will go through and look to see if it can find a USB drive that it could back up to. 16 gigabytes is normally the minimum for the USB drive. In this case, it found a drive, my D drive. I'm going to say, okay, that's the one I want to use. I click Next, and it tells me that everything is going to be deleted from that drive. That's okay. I'm going to click Create. It will format the drive, it'll install some files, and then it will copy the system files. Now, in this case for the video, I have sped up the time. Sometimes it takes a few minutes. It could take an hour to do this. But this is a disk that you could use if Windows 11 crashes and you can't get it to boot up. We could instead boot to this drive and repair things and get it all going. In this video, I'm not going to show you how to do that. That's another video. You just need to make this recovery drive while your computer is working. When it's done, just click Finish, and we're good to go. Now, those are the 3 steps I want you to take before something goes wrong. Let's look at the options when there is a problem. The first thing we're going to do is go to the Start menu and then tap or click on Settings. Normally, when you open Settings, it's already on the System section on the left. If it isn't, tap on System. On the right, scroll down to Recovery. And now you'll see recovery options, and we're going to look at each of these options. The first one is at the very top, and that's where we're going to try to use a troubleshooter. And we just tap there. The first line is recommended troubleshooting preferences, and there's a little drop-down menu, and you can choose what you want. The default usually is run automatically, don't notify me. In this case, we want to go down to other troubleshooters. And when we open that, you'll see a long list, the most frequent, others. If you had trouble, say, with your printer, you could use that troubleshooter that's built in. Have trouble with your camera, use that built-in troubleshooter. Your keyboard. There's a long list of troubleshooters that are built into Windows, and you can run them to see if they can find out what's wrong if you're having a particular problem. And all you have to do is tap Run and then follow a brief little wizard, and you're good to go. Now we're going to go back. We've looked at the troubleshooters. We're going to go back to System and Recovery again, so we can take a look at the other options. The next one is Go Back. This is an option that, let's say you just had a Windows build update. You could go back and take that out if it was working before that. Now they like to know why you're taking it out, so you should maybe pick an answer and click Next. And they want you to say, look, let's check for updates. Maybe there's an update to fix your problem, and you could check for updates, or you could say no. On the next window, they want you to know you won't be able to use your PC while this is happening, and that you might have to go back and reinstall some apps if you've installed something since the last update. And once you've read this window, just click Next. It'll remind you that if you used a password before, maybe you even took it off, make sure you know your password, and then tap Next. And they give you the opportunity to go back to an earlier build, and that's all you do is tap on that. One thing you do need to know is that the ability to go back to an earlier build does not stay in there forever. If you have a new build, usually there's an amount of time, 14 days, 30 days, whatever, for you to go back to the build before that. Once that time frame is up, you cannot go back to a previous build. Just know that if you were going through this wizard and it told you, sorry, you can't go back to a previous build, then this option won't work for you. All right, our third option for recovery is to reset the PC. I want to warn you that in most cases, this should be a last resort, and I'll explain why in a minute. When we tap on Reset This PC, you'll see that we get an option window, and that window says, do you want to keep my files or remove everything? Here's something you need to know. Regardless of which option you choose, you're going to lose apps. What happens is all the apps you've installed will be removed unless you got them from the Microsoft Store or unless they came with the computer. For instance, if you use, let's say, Quicken or QuickBooks, and you put that on after you got the computer, if you choose either one of these options, that program will be gone, and you would have to install it again. If you use Microsoft Office, if that did not come with the computer and you added it afterwards, that will be removed, and you will then have to be able to log into your Microsoft account and reinstall it. So there's a lot of work that can happen if you choose one of these options. Now, again, you can keep your files, or you can just remove everything. And regardless of which one of those you choose, you'll get a window asking you, do you want to restore from Windows that's on the computer, or do you want to use the cloud? Now, obviously, your computer has to be online in order to use the cloud to get Windows again. I really don't have a preference here. The only thing is that if there was something initially wrong with Windows on your computer, by downloading it from the cloud, you might be correcting what was wrong. And along the way, Microsoft can warn you about different things. Like, for instance, here it's telling me that there was a recent update, and if I reset the PC, I'm going to lose that update. If I wanted to continue, I'd just click Next. Now, once again, going back to the recovery mode, the last option we want to talk about is Restart Options. I would try this before I would do resetting the computer. Resetting the computer, as I said, is really the last resort. So it'll ask me, do you want to restart the computer now? I'll say yes, restart it now. When that happens, the computer will reboot, and instead of coming to Windows, it will come to a blue screen. The first blue screen will give me some options. I can continue and just boot right up to Windows 11. I could use a device that might be like the recovery drive that I made. I can troubleshoot, or I can just turn off the PC. Now for this demo, I'm going to use Troubleshoot so you see what the next screen is. When I tap on Troubleshoot, my next screen has only two options. The first option is to reset this PC. Once again, that's exactly what we just did in the last step, and that should be a last resort. So instead of choosing that, I'm going to choose Advanced Options. And when I choose that, I get another blue screen. This has a bunch of options. I can use Startup Repair. I can check Startup Settings, a command prompt. I can uninstall updates. The uninstall updates, that's slightly different than the go back that we looked at earlier. The go back allows us to go back a version of Windows. The uninstall allows us to actually uninstall updates that were just recently done. It's an expanded version of the go back. Probably one of the most important of the advanced options is the System Restore. When I click on the System Restore, it will allow me to restore the computer to an earlier date. Hopefully you'll understand why we configured System Restore at the beginning of this video. Because if you click on System Restore and it tells you there are no restore points, you've lost that option for fixing whatever is wrong. There is one more option where it says see more recovery options, and if we tap on that, we'll see that there's an advanced use a system image recovery. And that's a whole other thing, which again, we're not going into in this particular video. Now on any of these windows, you can use the back button and back up to a previous window. And you can do that all the way back to the choose an option window. And if I wanted to now, I could just continue to Windows 11. That's it for this video. If you have any questions about how to recover or restore in Windows 11, be sure and use the comment area below, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Otherwise, thanks for watching and have a great day.